What's going on, guys? This is Eric, blah, freaking blah. Hey, we got a little moving pictures today, but I visually wanted to show something. I've got to throw this together kind of quick. Just been real busy lately. So, we're going to have no editing in this one. You're going to get me warts and all, blemishes and everything. Got a little catch in my throat today, so there may be a little bit of extra clearing out of the throat, and I apologize for that. But let's move on. So, in a couple of previous videos, I've addressed whether or not artists matter. Do artists matter in the comic industry anymore? And I've got a book called Descender here, which I'm going to review for you guys here in a second. This will be my first comic book review, but it was suggested in the comments. One of you guys commented that it'd be nice to have some positive reviews and stuff to show, and I completely agree with that. Well, it just so happens that I stopped by the comic book store this past weekend, and I found this little gem for $1, and the cover really caught me, so I flipped through it, and I got it, and I really dug it. But before we get into this, I want to talk about, we've been talking a lot about Marvel, and I mean, Marvel has, they've really brought it on themselves for the amount of conversation that happens around them, and most of it's negative. I mean, the editorial team and the creative teams are just really saying and doing very questionable things. And one of those things was the editor-in-chief saying that he didn't know if artists really move the needle on sales anymore. Well, to that, my response is quite simply, comics are a visual medium. They are a visual medium. Of course the art matters. Now, I know some of you guys, again, commenting, saying, it doesn't matter as much as long as the story is compelling. And I get that. I really do. But my counter to that is the artwork can draw you in. I mean, the mood in the story is told as much. It's an all-encompassing work. You have the writer, the artist, the coloring, even the lettering. If the lettering is lousy, it kind of affects the overall experience. And there's a lot of talent. If you replace one talented guy with another talented guy, I can see how you can kind of overlook the changes. But if they have differences in style, it really messes with the mood and the tone of the book, and it gives it an inconsistent feel. If you have a dedicated team of talented guys, then it helps to make the story more cohesive. It keeps it from being as distracting. So let's get into this. I'm going to do this is what got me, okay? Forgive my shadow there. This is what got me. You guys can tell, this is watercolor. And I have not seen a book done in watercolor in ages. And I mean the production design, I'm using a movie term here, but the production design of this is really eye-catching. All right, so this is written by Jeff Lemire, and it's illustrated by Dustin. You guys are probably smarter than me. I don't want to butcher that guy's name. We'll just give it a close-up. Focus. Or not. Nguyen? Yeah. So it says it's lettered and designed by Steve Want. And this book basically takes a little bit of the premise of AI. It's set in the future. And you have you have different colonies and different planets. So this guy is he's I think a leader of the science division. And basically they're seeing something up in space, the O moment. And they call the lead science guy in because he knows more about robotics than anything. What I'm getting to here, now there's mild spoilers in this because obviously I'm reviewing issue 1. But being issue 1, this is all the setup anyway. But I mean, look at that. Look at that. Tell me the artist doesn't matter. The scale and the scope, and that this is a beautiful spread. That's a giant machine, by the way, that just kind of appeared out of nowhere, and that's why they called him the robotics guy. Of course, things go awry. The eyes light up. I don't know, this just looks really good. It's an attack, yes. Maybe he's communicating. Nope, it's an attack, and blam. I know a lot of you guys are irritated by the splash pages. I like the style of that. I like, it's just, it's a very cinematic style, and I'm a cinematic guy, so I'm kind of a sucker for that kind of thing. You know, I don't think it's 2 pages wasted. It's just setting up the tone and the style. So you have a little boy wake up on one of these colonies that was attacked. There were multiple places that were attacked by the same type of giant robot, who reportedly looked different later on in the story. So he's walking through, and there's a bunch of dead people. Dead children, dead adults, the whole thing. It's, you know, so it's not a book to necessarily give your 8-year-old. And I was kind of irritated by how the boy wasn't really terribly affected by this. He was just looking for his parents. And he's telling the computer, I need your help, computer. And the computer, of course, is still there, but kind of glitchy. But the reveal comes when he finds his, like, robot pet, that he himself is a robot. And it's, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie that Spielberg did called AI. It was actually a Kubrick film that Stanley Kubrick was going to do, and then he passed away before he could finish it. So Spielberg came in and finished it, and it was a very mixed result. Spielberg style and Kubrick style are just so different. And the story was kind of morose, and it was all about, you know, the little boy had an imprint of the mother on him, and it's, you know, AI love, and but it was a very meandering film, and I didn't really care for it. That's why I'm kind of talking about it in a blasé style. So I'm going through, and, you know, of course, he gets the full reenactment of what happened, the attacks that happened, and you find out later that robots like him have been outlawed. Now, I'm not, if you're thinking that's too big a spoiler, that's actually in the summary if you were to ever look this book up on Amazon. I love the design. He meets this person. They're bringing him back in because the little boy robot radioed in, and he's the developer. And they find out that the massive robots, the source of their code, which took forever to break through, comes from that style robot. You know, maybe this guy is involved in the design of the giant robots. He's saying, of course, that's ridiculous. And so a ship lands. The boy thinks he's being rescued, and of course they're bounty hunters. A colorful group of characters. Ragtag, bare bones, alternate universe, Guardians of the Galaxy there. But yeah, I mean, great design, great character work. Then a breakdown of the planets, the systems, the people, etc., etc. A nice pencil rendering. Sorry for the lack of focus there, but so Descender got some rave reviews, as you can see there. And I looked it up on Amazon just to get a price for it. Ladies and gentlemen, the graphic novel encasing the first, there's a couple of more stories from the same writer, Plutonia and Royal City. Sorry, it took me a second to find the title there. If you guys have read these and can, you know, give me a recommendation, yay or nay, you know, let me know. But I am really taken with this. Oh, and the first graphic novel that features the first 6 issues is $10. It is $10. It is a steal. I'm all over it. As soon as I can get down to my local comic shop, which is my closest one's an hour away, I'm gonna order a copy of it. I can't wait to read it. I can't wait, because this got me. This issue sold me on this story, and now I'm going to try to buy a graphic novel and see where it goes. And if that gets me, then I'll go with the second one, and then however many they made. So yeah, this is going to be a quick one tonight, guys. I have, you know, really been having the long videos. This one, we're going to hammer this one out tonight. But the whole point of me showing you the story wasn't just to share with you a book that I really dug, that I found intriguing, and really kind of pulled me in, made me want to see what happens next. It is gorgeous to look at. And it is this cover, this artwork, and a pretty cool title. I'm not sure why it's called Descender yet. That reined me in. It was the aesthetic of the book that made me say, yeah, I'll buy this for $1. Yeah, completely. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful work. And I wish more people would, you know, in the late 80s and early 90s, watercolor was much more prevalent. You don't see it much now. I really miss the style. It gives it a very, for lack of any better way of putting it, it's kind of cliche, a warm, organic feel. And not to say I don't like the current coloring scheme, but look at that spread. Man, that's gorgeous. And it's kind of got it's got a slightly retro feel to it too. I do like that everything robot has to have that in the center now, a la Iron Man. But I'm sure that came before Iron Man. I don't know. I have to do some history on that. But I mean, this artist really he has a great sense of scale, of design. Man, it's really good. So, okay. Point being, the art drew me in. And the art very often will draw me in. And the art really conveyed the story that was being told. It set up the aesthetic. Yeah, I mean, to me, art is integral in a visual medium. And I think it is extraordinarily short-sighted and really kind of stupid to say that artists don't move the needle in sales. On a side note, this is a brilliant move to reprint first issues of older stories for $1 to try to pull in new readers to establish the same story. We were talking about in another video also how Marvel can pull in new readers. They've started doing this, but they really ought to start doing this more for recent stories, not just the really old, like the 20-year-old stories like they have been doing. I appreciate that too, and that could, you know, I'm happy about it because it'll pull guys into some of the, you know, the OG original stories that are really worth reading. But you know, take a chance on the new stuff. I mean, they're all concerned about the creators that are, you know, employed now making a living. Man, do this. See if you can't get guys in there, but don't do it with your crap because you'll waste your money on that stuff. So that's it, man. That's my spiel for the day. Thanks for joining me, and I appreciate you watching and liking this video. If you are new here, please subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications because we talk about a lot in comics now. I was primarily a movie review channel talking about that stuff, but comics has always been a medium that I've had a heart for, and I love talking about it with you guys. And let me know what you think in the comments below. You know, how you feel about artwork. And were there ever any titles that drew you in just from the art, the cover? You know, I think it happens often. I mean, maybe more often than a lot of people even realize. Even back in the day, I remember when Spawn #1 came out. You know, I was following McFarlane, and I bought that issue just on his artwork alone. Of course, I read it for a little while. But anyway, that's my spiel, guys. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you on the next one.